Hey folks, thanks for checking into the Neutral Zone Hotel. We are an unapologetically left-leaning podcast that explores hockey at its best and at its worst. My name is Benjamin. My pronouns are he, him. I'm a Montreal Canadiens and Ottawa Charge fan out of Ottawa, Ontario. And I will say I am feasting quite happily this postseason. With me today is one of my colleagues, my good friend SJ.
Hello, everyone. I am SJ. My pronouns are they, them, and I am a Everett Silvertips fan, and we are even in the WHL finals right now.
I think they'll take it.
We'll see.
I believe.
The Prince Albert Raiders are very good.
They are.
They are.
But so are the Silvertips, who, of course, I think they had the best record of all of the CHL this year.
I think they did.
And they are powered by Landon DuPont, who is, I'm told, good.
He is extremely good. Actually, right now, they're very powered by Julius Miettinen, which is cool to see because Julius Miettinen is a Kraken prospect.
Yes. And if you are tuning in the first time for your very first episode of the Neutral Zone Hotel, SJ is also a fan of the Kraken and Torrent, but that's not politic right now.
Yeah. Oh, like, saying it's not politic makes it seem like they did something bad. Rather, they were just bad and bad teams.
Are you going to tell me that the continued quest for a first round knockout by the Kraken is good?
No, I won't say that. But they also have not committed crimes, so.
Crimes against the game of hockey, maybe a little bit. But
a little bit.
Crimes against Shane Wright's hockey development.
Oh, just shove the knife right in. Just give it a little twist.
Maybe they can fix it. It's not even him losing a year because of the bad AHL, CHL transfer agreement crap, I think is the real culprit there.
Yeah. You know how they haven't actually that reminds me. So the new provision in the CBA allowing 19-year-olds to play in the AHL, one 19-year-old per team, is actually dependent on the NHL renegotiating their transfer agreement with the CHL. And the CHL and NHL transfer agreement expired last summer, I believe, and they have simply extended it pending renegotiation. So the CHL has not agreed to the provision to let 19-year-olds play in the AHL as of this time. And I know a lot of NHL teams are really, really want that one. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens come fall.
Tend to think that will swing some of the pendulum of star players departing for the NCAA back towards the CHL. Because I do believe while your top level stars like your Gavin McKenna's and your Landon DuPonts will probably still jump to the NCAA, guys who would otherwise do 2 or 3 years in the NCAA would probably want to do their post-draft year in the AHL, which is absolutely better, I think, for those players in the NCAA. Like, there is a talent cap, I think, in the NCAA, and it is somewhere between the CHL and the AHL.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting.
It is interesting. And it's one of those things where we just simply will not know how it shakes out until a few years after this agreement gets signed.
Yeah. There is a lot of stuff about junior hockey right now that's really, really up in the air. The USHL is just whew, really up in the air.
The NCAA is taking a bunch of those players, and there aren't replacement players.
Well, the CHL is taking a bunch of USHL players. Is the
Yes,
problem.
because the CHL is losing players to the NCAA. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's
And aren't there teams in the USHL who want to join the CHL now?
there were
Yeah.
2 teams. I know Youngstown Phantoms were one. I can't remember the other one that were going to join the OHL. And USA Hockey blocked the move. So they have not been allowed to do so. And the USA Hockey Canada, the CHL, the NCAA, the NHL, they've all kind of the NHL has been trying to broker new agreements between these leagues all year. And it's just been a lot of talking right now. They kind of come to the table, they talk about it for a bit, they walk away, nothing is decided. I think it's going to take. I'm not surprised that it's been going for a year and nothing has been decided yet. And it could be considerably longer, or they could come back sometime in the fall and be like, actually, we've come up with something we can all agree on for now. I wouldn't be shocked by that either.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think there's a lot of motivation, but there are also some very intractable differences right now in priority and need.
Well, obviously the CHL is worried about bleeding star players.
Yeah.
The USHL is worried about bleeding players in general. USA Hockey is concerned about the future of the development team, which needs decent quality competition to play against. That was the whole point of it.
Yep.
Hockey Canada is worried it's going to lose a bunch of its stars to the United States long term. Yeah, everyone's got a horse in this race, and they're not all running in the same direction.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of it is going to start to come down to the decisions that individual players are making, like what the trends are. Whether Gavin McKenna deciding to go to the NCAA was like a big rock in that pond. Whether if Landon DuPont decides to do the same and play his entire year as a 17-year-old in the NCAA, I think that would be another rock that had some real ripples. If we're bleeding those star players out of the WHL every year. And then there was news this week. So the WHL just did their bantam draft. And there was news this week that there were WHL teams who were passing up in the first round players that should have gone earlier because of the fear that those players in 3 years, remember the WHL drafts 15-year-olds, they don't even play in the WHL in this upcoming season. It's going to be an entire year. So they might leave 3 years from now for the NCAA. Now, I think that is incredibly stupid. Every single one of those GMs should be fired because of a hypothetical that might occur in 3 years to actively make your team worse.
Well, it's weird because they treat draft picks like they're pieces of garbage they found on the side of the road, the way they trade them around and that. So with the low amount of cachet they put in draft picks, you would think, oh, we might lose this guy for his age 19 or 20 season. You would think that's not as big of a problem as it would be anyway. But yeah,
it shouldn't be.
It's also simply just possible that general managers are sometimes stupid.
I think it's really just dumb.
Yeah, yeah, no.
I think they are simply making mistakes. God, can you imagine if the Silvertips had passed up on Landon DuPont because they weren't sure if he would get exceptional status as a 15-year-old, and they were like, "Well, we're only going to get him for 1 year."
Yeah. So if an NCAA team reaches out to Landon DuPont,
He's already had interest.
is that a Landon DuPont bridge? You don't
What?
get it.
No.
DuPont is French for the bridge.
Oh, is it? I had no
Or
idea.
a bridge, possibly. Yeah. Pont was bridge.
Huh.
Yeah, he's
I'll try to
landing
remember that.
Land the bridge. He's land on the bridge.
That's pretty good.
All right, folks, come to the Neutral Zone Hotel to talk about hockey, but instead you just learn about players' last names. How are you feeling about the PWHL playoffs?
I think they've been really interesting.
I think it's been a little shitty.
Oh, if you're not, yeah, that was a terrible joke.
So we were hoping that by the time we recorded this episode, we would know who we're meeting in the finals. In case you are not paying attention, the Montreal Minnesota decisive game 5 was postponed due to a bout of illness, widely rumored to be some form of food poisoning or novovirus, in which multiple players were
norovirus.
Yeah, whatever, some sort of poopy virus.
Yeah.
But apparently the illness did not spread, and the teams are currently playing where Montreal is winning, I think 1-0 right now. Yeah, at the end of the first. So, SJ, I think your preferences are the same as mine. We want to see Minnesota lose. Nothing
I don't want a
personal.
three-peat.
I think a three-peat in like 2040 through 2042 would be very cool for this league.
But not in the first 3 years.
No, I think that makes it a lot tougher to bring in new fans over time. And I'm not just saying this because the team that's going to go up against Minnesota in the finals is my team. Although I'm really excited about that.
Mm-hmm. A second year in the finals for the Charge.
And I think a surprising return.
Mm-hmm.
But I am hoping Montreal makes it through. I think Marie-Philippe Poulin should be in the finals. I think she is that type of player.
I think that would be really fun.
I think it'll be special to get to watch her in the finals.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, probably very tough for Ottawa to shut down.
Yeah. It's going to be an exciting series.
Yeah.
Unless it becomes a goaltending battle instead, and in which case, less exciting.
Well, I mean, the Ottawa-Boston series was a goaltending battle.
Yeah.
And it was still fun.
Right up until Frankel decided that it wasn't going to be, actually. It was a funny goal.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, when a goaltender is playing the way Aaron Frankel plays, sometimes you have to get silly bounces.
Yeah.
And she lost the puck for a moment. She turned because she didn't know where it was, and she kicked it in her own net, or knocked it in with her pad, I think is more accurate.
Yeah.
That was the ending to game 3. And then game 4, it was a really good goal that Michaela Cava was able to put in. And
yeah, good for Michaela Cava.
Yeah, her first goal. Michaela Cava has won, in her last 5 seasons, has won the championship all 5 years.
Jeez.
In 4 different leagues.
Lucky.
Yeah. Fanuza Katarova leading the playoffs in scoring with 5 points.
We all predicted that, right?
Yeah. So I think Ottawa is in a situation where their top line was very much shut down by Boston's top line. But the inverse was also true, even though I think Alina Mueller will be seeing an open net in her nightmares for the foreseeable future. And yeah, I think the tenor of that series was very good. Obviously, Ottawa was outshot, but they do a very good job of making sure a lot of those shots are, straight on. If there's a player moving up on Gwen, they take the pass and let Gwen take the shot. That's the level of trust they have in her.
That's how you're supposed to do it. Like, that's how they're always supposed to play it.
Yeah. And they've cheated before, and it's cost them.
Mm-hmm.
Savalainen had a very good series. Rory Gilday had a good series. Boston, I found, was running certain players on Boston were falling into Phillips, I think, very easily.
It's funny how floppy everybody becomes in the playoffs. It's like, oh, you've brushed against me. I must go flying into the goaltender. Oh, I can't help it. Oh, you got me.
And that's not to
I will land on her knee.
And that's not to say that one or two players didn't fall on Aaron Frankel as well, because they did.
They won her. Oh no, it's every team. It's the PWHL. It's the NHL. People were flopping all over the goaltenders in that last NHL game I watched.
But I did find it very funny when Rania Savalainen decided she had enough of it and put Alina Mueller in a headlock, and then flung Jesse Eldridge to the ice with a single hand, which I thought was when she just reached out and knocked her down like a cat knocking something off the table.
Eldridge isn't that big.
No, and Rania is. She's a big girl. You could tell that she was not. They had her in the scrum afterwards, or the press scrum afterwards, and someone asked her, "Were you trying to send a message?" And she misheard it or misunderstood it. English obviously not her first language. As what did you say to Alina Mueller? And she said, "I won't. I'm not going to tell you what I said to her, but I said something to her." I thought that was pretty funny. She's been an absolute delight to watch on this stretch run because she gets the most excited about winning and scoring. And at the end of both the regular season when they made the playoffs and when they won the first round, she's the one skating around the ice like a prize fighter, trying to amp the crowd up, doing the, swinging her arms up.
Mm-hmm.
So she has endeared me deeply.
Good.
I like her.
I hope she swings a protection slot.
I think it'll be tough. I think for Ottawa to choose their protection slots, and we'll probably do some predictions once we know what the teams are. But yeah.
I mean,
I don't think Ottawa will be an easy out this year. Let's put it that way.
Oh no, I'm really hoping it'll be a good series.
Yeah, me too. Considering I get to see it from my club seats in the Canadian Tire Center.
Yeah, how are you feeling about the move to the Canadian Tire Center?
So it's not made official yet. They tried to get Carla to say it at one of the post games, and she said, "I didn't say that. I didn't say we were done at TD Place," even though she kind of did.
Mm-hmm. Wink, wink.
But at the end of the day, they still haven't sent out season ticket renewals, which they've done for pretty much every other team.
They've already debited my account.
Yeah. They didn't announce anything about playoffs until the moment they had to. So the assumption here is due to the strained relationship with the OSEG, Ottawa Sports Entertainment Group, which runs TD Place and TD Place Arena. The fact that TD Place will be moving to a much smaller arena when the Charge can fill that building on weekends, guaranteed.
Mm-hmm.
And the stated preference of the PWHL, I think it was Jana Hefford, said they are looking for 10,000 plus seat arenas where practical. All of that rules out staying at TD Place, especially if they had a 3-year deal and that 3-year deal is now up.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Andlauer seems to be doing all the right things. I mean, they had when we walked in the building, they actually had some of the wall art. They put up Ottawa Charge wall art.
Cool.
But obviously, they didn't take down like the Sens Wall of Honor and all that stuff, but
Yeah.
like in the modular areas where you would have kind of had the season stuff for the Sens, some of that was replaced with charge
You know, that's
merchandise. Yeah.
one of the nice things about Climate Pledge Arena is that all of the wall art is screens.
Yeah.
And so, regardless, so for torrent games, it's all torrent everywhere. For Kraken games, it's all Kraken. For Storm games, it's all Storm. So the arena feels tailored regardless of who's playing.
I'm sure the new building will be like that, but
Yeah.
it was just one of those things I noticed when I walked in, I think for game 4, and I turned around and I looked at the wall. I'm like, wow, they actually went and they covered this wall over with like a big Ottawa Charge mural type thing.
Very nice.
So they are, and Lauer and company are definitely going a little bit of the extra mile. They have the logo at center ice, which looks really good. It couldn't be more clear that they're intending to stay.
Yeah. Big winks at the audience.
I'm not looking forward to getting across the city of Ottawa during rush hour for games some of these days, but
yeah, it's too bad there's not like more out in Canada. You can go early, hang out.
I mean,
But there's just nothing out there.
You can't really go early.
Yeah.
I work. By the time my work is done, the highway is a parking lot.
Ugh. Disgusting.
And that's just how it's going to be.
Yeah.
No way around it, right? Maybe if they finish the train through to Moody, I'll take the train and then transfer to a bus and go to CTC from there.
Oh, it's not great, but
no, it'd be better, obviously, if the arena was downtown.
Yeah. How long until LeBreton gets built?
I don't even think they've finalized the agreements yet. At least 5 years.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Brutal.
But I don't think they can stay at TD Place Arena. They certainly can't stay at a 5,500 person TD Place Arena.
No, absolutely not.
So if they had done that properly and they were increasing the amount of, event space in the city by building it up and making it into a 10,000 person arena, modern 10,000 person arena, they would have stayed. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, certainly until LeBreton got built.
Yep.
But it's just not. It's not an option.
No, and OSEG, Ottawa Sports Entertainment Group, is not a profit center.
Mm-hmm.
That's not to say that they don't make money. The OSEG is owned by a bunch of Ottawa companies. That's like a partnership, and those companies make money. But OSEG itself is not required to turn a profit until the 2050s. So they don't. Right?
Yeah. Funny how that is.
It is. It's very funny, don't you think?
Mm-hmm.
So, but yes, I think Canadian Tire, and this, I think, leads naturally into the next thing we wanted to talk about, which is PWHL expansion.
Yeah.
But ultimately, the league is looking to get out of these first-year barns. They managed it by going to Coca-Cola in Toronto, but they clearly want out of Lowell. They very clearly wanted out of TD Place Arena.
Mm-hmm.
And they've mostly resolved the situation with New York. They're actually getting a few thousand extra people in there now, but they're not interested in going back into a negative arena situation.
No.
And I think that is one of the reasons why they're choosing some of these expansion teams that they're choosing. So we've talked about Detroit, announced last week. Heavily reported that tomorrow, Wednesday, will be the announcement of PWHL Las Vegas at T-Mobile Arena, which I think is relevant.
Absolutely.
And then Thursday, it sounds like we're getting an announcement at TD Coliseum in Hamilton, Ontario.
Yes.
The fourth team is rumored to be San Jose, but we haven't gotten announcements or heard leaks of girls' teams in the area being asked to show up at the arena. So we're not going to go further on that. We'll leave that one up in the air. But let's talk about Las Vegas and Hamilton.
Yes. A lot of PWHL fans are very confused by the announcement for Las Vegas, especially because Las Vegas was not a takeover city. The PWHL has not played there. They very clearly see it as Vegas instead of, say, Denver or Edmonton or one of these other very successful takeover cities. It's like, oh, where they're going to Hamilton, not DC, right? They're going to Vegas instead of Chicago. So why? They are asking, why is this so? There's a lot of very negative sentiment in the general PWHL fandom over the move to a Vegas PWHL team. It's a lot of people who are displacing their feelings about the Vegas Golden Knights and how they run their team onto the PWHL, which is not the Vegas Golden Knights. The Vegas Golden Knights are not going to be running or owning this team. So I do think people need to not immediately yet. Not for a few years, I think. And that's really relevant because Ted Leonsis, who owns Monumental, which runs the Wizards and the Capitals and controls the arenas in DC, was very explicitly came out and said why the PWHL is not going to DC. And the reason is that Leonsis wants to own the team, and the PWHL is not willing to do that right now. They are not right now in the business of selling these franchises. And that is locking them out of certain expansion markets like DC, likely Edmonton, likely Denver with the Cronkies. And so they are instead going to markets where the arena controllers are willing to be a bit more flexible in those terms. And that is how we end up with rumors around San Jose. Hamilton, which is a city with an arena and no pro team, although they are now also getting the Islanders AHL team. So PWHL Hamilton will come in at the same time as the AHL Hamilton team yet to be named as well. And now Vegas. So apparently Bill Foley is not so concerned about owning the PWHL team right this moment.
So looking at the ownership situation at T-Mobile Arena, so because this announcement is happening at T-Mobile Arena, I think it's fair to assume that they'll be playing there.
I agree.
The options for an arena in Las Vegas are both not limited, but extremely limited. Orleans Arena seats 9,500. It's a bit of an older facility. Apparently has very good ice, but is a little small, and it's not central to the Strip. Where T-Mobile is. T-Mobile does not have a secondary tenant, which means there's nothing really. There's yet. They probably will end up with a basketball team eventually.
And it's going to be 2 or 3 years.
Yes.
Same with Seattle.
But for now, they'll be able to fit in there. And I think something that people are sleeping on is the fact that the Las Vegas Aces, the WNBA team,
exactly,
they sell tickets like gangbusters. So they play at Michelob Ultra Arena, which is the entertainment venue at Mandalay Bay. That is a roughly 12,000 person venue designed for boxing and concert use, but it's big enough for basketball. And they sell like 11,700 tickets to that a game. They have played at the start of this current WNBA season. They've played some of their games at T-Mobile, and they've sold them all out.
Yeah, it's not shocking.
So,
Also,
so they're
I think it's worth noting here that the Aces are the best team in the league. They have the best player in the league, and Asia Wilson as well, reigning MVP. They are the reigning champion. They have had an incredible run of success, and through that success, they are turning Vegas into a women's sports city.
I think it's fair to say that Las Vegas is both a sports city. It's very quickly become a sports city,
Mm-hmm.
but also definitely a hub for women's sports.
Yeah,
And this moves on that.
absolutely.
I do not want to sit here and say to anyone who went to a takeover game where you're not getting a team, I do not want to tell you that it's just how the cookie crumbles. I hope that you get a PWHL team eventually, and I hope for an extent, I hope that eventually is fairly soon, even though I also kind of want this to be it for expansion for a few years.
I think it really will be. I think the league is going to stabilize at 12 for like 5 years.
5 years. I want you to know that if you did not get a team, you did nothing wrong. You still showed up, and you still showed that there were passionate fans in your area who want to see these incredible women play hockey. Unfortunately, either there's no arena available, or there wasn't maybe enough people who showed up, or the billionaires who run your local arena are assholes. These are all possibilities. I do not believe for a moment they'd be going to Las Vegas, or as rumored, San Jose, if Edmonton, Washington, and Denver were available.
Yeah, I agree.
I simply do not believe that.
Or if they had better attendance in Chicago. Like they gave Chicago 2 bites at the takeover apple, and I think they were really hoping for better attendance there.
Yeah, they clearly wanted to put a team in Chicago. I think that is where Mark Walter lives personally. I would not even be surprised if they continue to do takeover games there, and Chicago becomes a priority. But some of the rumors that came out, like they were going to put them in the new USA Hockey Arena.
That was always bullshit. It was always going to be Allstate, where the Wolves play.
Where the sight lines are bad for hockey. But
they're not going to get in. They're probably not going to get into United Center, unfortunately.
No, they are not.
Not until they sell a franchise. Anyway.
Yeah.
So
Hamilton
family. Yeah.
Yes.
Hamilton.
Hamilton, I think, makes a ton of sense.
Oh, I love this pick. I love Hamilton for the PWHL, and can I give my Toronto spiel? I know you've heard it like 8,000 times.
Go ahead.
Okay, cool. I will die on the hill that Toronto should have 2 NHL teams. Absolutely, yes. I will die on this hill. It can absolutely support 2 NHL teams. I think it would be a healthier fandom community, Toronto fandom, if it had 2 NHL teams and they had a couple more bites at the apple. They didn't have to just rely on the Leafs. That is a market that can absolutely support it. If they put 2 arenas downtown a block away from each other, they would fill them both every night. It is a massive, massive city. It is a hockey mad city. People travel into Toronto all the time to see and play hockey. And the fact that there aren't 2 NHL teams is entirely a relic of MLSE having veto power on a second team coming into the city.
I mean, it goes back further than that. It goes all the way back to Conn Smythe, right? Like, basically, successive Maple Leafs owners have consistently, firmly rejected the concept of sharing their fiefdom with another owner.
Yeah, it goes back all the way. So the fact is that the PWHL is not limited by that tradition in the same way that the NHL is. They are a single ownership entity, and it makes sense to get into that market twice. In the same way the NHL is in LA twice, is in New York 3 times. And putting the team in Hamilton makes total sense because, and I know a lot of Americans do not know this, Hamilton is not actually in Toronto. Benjamin, would you like to give all of America a short geography lesson?
Yeah, so Hamilton is its own city, developed independently. It has its own culture. It's also not part of the Greater Toronto Area, the Greater Toronto City that was forcibly amalgamated by the province in 2000. And critically, Hamilton plus its bedroom communities of Burlington and Oakville, uh, plus nearby Niagara Falls, St. Catharines, Guelph, and the KW, Kitchener, Waterloo, Cambridge Triangle, that's like 2 million people, all of whom are hockey mad because they're Canadians,
Mm-hmm.
and all of whom do not like Toronto. They're Leafs fans, but they don't like Toronto, the city.
Yeah, they're Leafs fans unless they're Buffalo fans.
Yeah, well, and a lot of them are Sabres
are.
fans.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, in Hamilton, the Sabres are very popular.
Yeah.
So it is actually quite a large area. By the metro, Hamilton is one of Canada's 10 largest metros. But that does exclude multiple cities like Burlington and Oakville that are not counted as part of Hamilton's statistical area, but are also not part of Toronto, really.
Yeah.
So, and are geographically much closer to downtown Hamilton than they are to downtown Toronto, right? Like it's 75 kilometers by car. So they're further apart than, like New Jersey and the island.
Yeah.
Like Long Island, with just as many people, if not more, and many more hockey fans. Hamilton could have supported an NHL team the entire time they've had what's now TD Coliseum. There's no doubt in my mind.
Yeah.
They built it for that purpose. So I think a PWHL team will do very well there. This remains a gate league.
Yes. Although I think many of these expansion choices are a nod in the direction of becoming less of a gate league.
In the United States.
3 U.S. teams is they are looking for a U.S. national TV deal.
Yes, and I think that is certainly why they're picking 3 American teams, which is perfectly fine. I regret to inform you, Minnesota has scored.
That is unfortunate.
It is unfortunate. Samantha Coogan? I don't know. Never heard of this lady in my life. But the Habs are up 2-1.
Heck yeah. The Alex Newhook domination continues, just as we all predicted.
The Revenge of Newfoundland. Cole Caulfield gets his 3rd. Okay. Apologies. Yes, so I think Hamilton has the people. It doesn't have a huge business base, but does have some, especially manufacturing.
Mm-hmm.
Hamilton is Canada's steel center. As I explained on Topic Lords, the giant steel beams that hold up TD Place Arena were forged as one piece in Hamilton. Multiple, like the ships were built there and scrapped there. It is the home of Canada's ceremonial warship, the Haida. Very cool stuff. Hamilton is maybe not the world's prettiest city, but it has good, hardworking folk who want somewhere to spend their hard-earned dollars. And the PWHL is going to give them a great place to do that.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, I'll take you to Hamilton. We'll go down and look at TD Place, TD Coliseum.
Mm-hmm.
I
Okay.
don't know.
We can do the heated rivalry pilgrimage. They filmed a lot of it there.
Oh, sure. Yeah, if you say so.
I'm mostly joking.
Okay.
I do not need to go to that particular coffee shop that they turned into a smoothie shop.
Oh, the smoothie shop from episode
Yeah,
3.
the Hamilton's was the New York stand-in mostly.
Okay. Yeah, so I think that this is a very interesting set of decisions, but ultimately I think this is driven by a group of greedy billionaires who want to get these teams now because they know if they wait to buy them, it's going to cost them a bunch more money.
Yeah, and the Walter Group wants them to wait so that they can pay them a bunch more money for these teams.
Yeah, and the difference is that ownership groups in places like Ottawa and Minnesota and Seattle and now clearly Detroit are very much interested in playing ball. I don't know. Bill Foley is not the majority owner of T-Mobile, but Bill Foley is certainly very interested in this expansion franchise in Las Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
I can only imagine that the people who own the Sharks are going to be interested in the one that's going to San Jose. I honestly don't know about if they're even worried about finding an owner in Hamilton. They're probably just, whatever, it's a team in Canada. Someone will buy it.
I mean, I think the pitch mostly came from the city in Hamilton.
Yeah. And even if, they had other areas they may have wanted to go to, Hamilton makes travel easy.
Yeah.
Right? You basically put a fifth team in the Detroit to Montreal corridor. So
yeah,
travel is going to be easy, and that's important to this league.
Travel, you know what really makes travel easy? Vegas.
Yes.
Everybody flies to Vegas.
Yes. And since this league does fly commercial, Hamilton, you don't, there are flights to Toronto.
Yeah.
If you went to Quebec City or Halifax or Winnipeg, it's a lot harder to get there.
I think it was. I wouldn't be shocked if the flight problems were what really killed Halifax.
I'm sure of it.
Yeah.
Is that the city put on the full court press? They sold out. They had people begging for tickets.
Yeah.
And I think they do well.
Until this becomes more of a charter league and less a commercial league, it's going to be really tough to go to Halifax
or Quebec City or Winnipeg.
Yeah, absolutely. I still think those are great locations for takeover games. I think they're going to keep seeing takeover games as long as the cities are willing to play ball on that. But hosting a team is going to be a harder proposition.
The big challenge for a city like Halifax is by the time the league is a charter league, a 10,500 person arena will not cut the mustard.
Mm. And long term, maybe that's also a consideration.
Well, I think the city of Halifax needs to seriously start talking about replacing the Metro Center.
Mm-hmm. Go up to a 15K.
Yeah,
seat.
Something closer to what they have in Winnipeg.
Mm-hmm.
They sell out more Mooseheads games than not, but the city is growing rapidly, and the Metro Center is 50 years old.
Yeah,
is not a new building.
Is it owned and run by the city?
I think Scotiabank Center. I'll never call it Scotiabank Center. It was the Metro Center for too long. It is owned by the city of Halifax.
Yeah.
So Quebec City, they have Videotron Center, which is a gorgeous arena, but I just don't believe that the PWHL or the NHL will ever go there.
No, I don't. I think that since the PWHL has decided not to go there in this round of expansion, it's looking pretty unlikely that they ever will.
I agree. Well, Alessia, is there anything else you wanted to talk about?
Hockey's great. I'm ready for summer though.
Who's going to win the remaining 3 rounds?
Remaining 3
Like
rounds.
the current in round 2. There are 3 matchups in round 2.
In the NHL?
In the NHL.
Okay. All right.
We'll start with the easy one. Colorado versus Minnesota.
I think Colorado is going to they're up 3-1.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's gonna be a nice 4-1. It's gonna be a 5-game series.
A gentle person's sweep.
A gentle person's sweep.
Anaheim and the Kniggets.
That series is tied 2-2. Mark Stone is injured. Wouldn't be shocked if he doesn't come back. I think that's gonna go 7. And I think I don't want Vegas to win, but I think they'll take it in 7.
I agree. Vegas in 7. Montreal and Buffalo.
Montreal in 6.
I think it's Habs in 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, they took the Sabres apart the last 2 games. Like they dominated them up and down the ice. And I mentioned this on our Discord, which you can join at newjerusalemhotel.com/Discord. But the Habs won their 5-on-5 matchups with their second through third lines by 55, 56% or more in XGA4 percentage. They got crushed on the top line, like 32% or something ludicrous like that in games 2 and 3. But when you dig into it, something like 9 of their possessions in those 2 games ended with Buffalo taking a minor penalty, and then those guys generating XGs at 6-on-5, so it doesn't count anymore. And then they would go into a 5-on-4 situation where they scored, I think, 5 goals across the 3 games, or across the 2 games. So, yes, it's true that they're not getting chances, but it's because before they could generate chances, they're getting hooked or tripped or roughed and leading to a power play opportunity.
Just straight up interference.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, man. That's one of the things that's driving me nuts about the Silvertips and the Raiders series is that the Raiders are just like, and the V's were doing the same thing. They just like fully interfere. They're just always interfering, and they don't. The WHL refs don't call interference enough.
I have the exact same feeling about the refs in the PWHL. They let a lot of shit go in that semifinal.
PWHL reffing has been so bad. More teams is not going to help that.
Well, they'll need more refs.
They need more refs. They're going to need to start paying these refs better so they can retain good refs. Oh.
Yeah.
The officiating situation and the situation with player safety in the PWHL is another. I think that's another reason why they need to stop at 12 teams.
Agreed. And I think the PWHL has an interesting opportunity because the NHL has changed the way they recruit referees. They're no longer recruiting so many out of the minor league ranks. They recruit by looking for former minor league players and bringing them into a refereeing structure early.
Interesting.
Yeah, so like you can't work your way up to the NHL as easily as you could before, but the PWHL could certainly fill that gap.
They'd have to start paying better than AHL referees.
And I think that getting to 12 teams is a big part of that.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you have to have a big enough fan base to justify that. But I think the ultimate goal for a lot of these off-ice positions or non-player positions should be basically a potential intermediary stop between the AHL and the NHL.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the day where the two teams are financially on the same foot is a long way away.
Oh,
I'm
huge.
not trying to say it's not going to happen eventually, but a long way away. But I think the day where a PWHL ref or coach or equipment manager is paid more than an AHL coach or ref or equipment manager is in our future.
That'd be good.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be cool the first time that a PWHL coach jumps to the NHL. I think that's, or like an NHL assistant coach jumps to the PWHL for a head coach position. I think those are going to be very interesting landmark moments in what it means to coach hockey and the amount of available spaces in this game for women at any level with any gender of league.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the things that really excites me is I think someone like Corey Chevry could coach an NHL team someday.
Oh, yeah.
And that did not feel like a true thing to say 5 years ago.
If she wins a cup, I think that helps her case a lot too.
Yeah. But down the road, like, we don't know. And that's not to say a woman wouldn't have eventually made it anyway, but it feels like this supercharges that.
Yeah. It's about putting in like stepping stones as well.
Yeah.
There should just be more women in all of these ranks.
I want there to be more women in hockey and more non-white men, I guess I should say.
Yeah.
You know, people of color.
Diversify the ranks.
Genderqueer folks, not straight folks. People who don't look like me. So
it'll happen.
I'm in the middle of reading Fred Saskam. If I had it in front of me, I could say Fred Saskamuse's autobiography, Call Me Indian, which is about his life growing up on a reserve and being forced into residential school and making the NHL out of Moose Jaw. And it's really interesting, but it just tells you how much better we are with diverse voices.
Absolutely.
So, and he talks about that a lot too, like how in these teams that he's playing on in the 40s, like when there was a black player on the team or a Chinese Canadian player on the team, that they would find solace in diversity because they wouldn't be alone. I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah, good book so far. I'll probably do a full review on it once I finish it up.
Okay, look forward to that.
Yeah. Well, folks, thanks so much for tuning in. This has been The Neutral Zone Hotel, which is written, hosted, and produced by us, the Neutral Zone Hotel crew. You can find out more at our website, neutralzonehotel.com, and neutralzonehotel.com/Discord to join our Discord and hang out with us. Most of us don't bite, but I make absolutely no promises for Madison. And if she wanted to defend herself, she should have shown up to the recording. We're on Bluesky at neutralzonehotel.bluesky.social. We're on YouTube at Neutral Zone Hotel. And if you're having a great time and you want to say, I'm having a great time, what you can do is thumbs up, smash the like button, 5 stars, tell a friend, all those cool stuff to spread the word. And folks, we'll check you in next week. Take care.